Tash.
Hello, Rose.
How are you?
Well, and you?
Oh, good, thank you. So we're spending some time with you. You are here at Oysters R Us.
Yeah.
And you've been doing a lot of dealings with oysters in this area. I've known you. How long have you been here?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
It's been a while, eh?
It's been a while.
Yeah. So you have a very interesting concept here, which basically involves oysters and keeping them in tanks, shucking them, and then serving them in very delicious ways.
Yeah. Now we do that.
And that's so. First thing I'm going to start with, because you say it's the most interesting, is people are completely fascinated with the tanks, the holding tanks for oysters. Tell us a little bit about these oysters.
Okay, so when I started the business, we actually now 8 years. So we started 8 years ago. So it took me about 3.5 years to get the concept right in terms of the tank. So lots of trial and error, but I eventually got the winning recipe. So how it actually worked, I obviously built the tanks, so they're insulated. And then what happens is the most important thing for oysters is to make sure that there's oxygen. So the oxygen is actually my inlet, and then I've got an outlet over here. So there's an in and an out on each tank. So oxygen creates fine little bubbles in the water, which allows the oyster to breathe. The next thing is keeping the water clean. The cleaner the water, the better the oyster tastes. So if you have a look over here, the clarity of the water is important. And yes, their job is to clean the sea, but we're serving it to people. So the aim is to make sure your tanks are clean. So how I do that is actually through my UV sterilizer. You'll see just down there, they use that typically on koi ponds. And then in my actual filter system, you'll see over there, there's activated charcoal, which actually eradicates all the E. coli, which is found in their poop. It's a bacteria found in their poop. And then your next thing is temperatures. So these guys that I bring in, I don't get enough coastal oysters, which is the Indian Ocean over here. We actually get from the West Coast, but that's Atlantic Sea. So very cold water, cold sea. So I need to make sure that I drop my temperatures. So how I do that is actually, if you have a look over here, my brother actually designed this because he's in refrigeration. So the concept's identical to that of the cold room. So it's linked to a condensing unit, and these are stainless steel fins over here that actually cool the water. So my cooling happens in this tank, and then the most important thing is to make sure that I keep it below 12 degrees. So currently my tanks are on 10 degrees Celsius. So that's the perfect temperature to keep these guys happy. So if you want to have a look at the actual temperature gauge, I have a look, I've got a little gauge over there. So it's bouncing between 9.9 and 10 degrees Celsius, which is perfect. There isn't actually much in terms of, it's not very technical in terms of keeping oysters, it's just making sure that you stick to certain criteria. And like I said, number one is oxygen and your temperatures, which is essential. You probably, I know this for a fact, this is probably the only of its kind, probably in the world, in terms of cooling, of how you actually keep your oysters cool and to drop it to the correct temperatures. I've yet to see another setup like this anywhere in the world.
So interesting enough, you were telling us about the different type of oysters, Tash. Tell us a little bit about the different type of oysters and how do they differ in South Africa and in our area?
Well, okay, so you get the wild oyster that they harvest here, which is called the Cape Rock oyster. So this is Indian Ocean, so it's warmer water. So that's the wild natural oyster, which they harvest off the rocks. And then the ones I bring in, they cultivate it. They grow them in the sea, but they cultivate it. They grow them in a controlled environment. So everyone always asks for taste difference. I can't really say there's a huge taste difference. I do find that the wild oyster, the coastal one we get here, is slightly firmer in texture and a little bit saltier, but not always. So they also change their taste. So oysters change their taste depending on the season that you eat them. So in summer they get a richer, creamier taste because of the milk sac. And then in winter, they're more briny, more salty because that milk sac disappears. So different tasting oysters, you get some in some countries, especially in France, where they've got quite a variety. Some describe them as nutty, buttery, ours briny, very briny in our area in South Africa. And I must say, in terms of all the foreigners that come through, they actually like that brininess, they like that saltiness. So
So now we're going to get to the shucking part of the
oyster. Easy part.
So you have described to me in the past before a little bit how the oyster, it's not just a shell with something inside. So describe the oyster to us a little bit, like how you always tell me what's where on those oysters. If you can give us an oyster.
Are you talking about the anatomy?
The whole anatomy, yeah.
I don't like to discuss anatomy because it tends to put people off. I'll show you where the muscle is. I do have, if you go onto our Facebook page, I do have a diagram of the anatomy of the oyster if you really are keen after this, but I'll show you where the muscle is and how you need to shuck it. So here are the oysters. So this is the fun part, is to shuck an oyster. We've heard many stories in terms of hammers and screwdrivers with people trying to get into the oyster. The whole thing is actually all technique. So it's making sure that you've got the right equipment. So first thing is the knife. So my dad actually made this from an old screwdriver handle and a knife, which he actually made, you'll see over there. The reason I like this knife is because it actually cups, and my dad actually made it to size.
So how many oysters do you actually shuck when you get busy in a day?
Well, over season we can go through anything from 1,200 to 1,900 oysters per day.
Per day, that you shuck on your own?
Yes, that I shuck on my own. But I've got 2 guys that stand next to me, so I feed them. So the quality control lies with me. They won't prep it unless it's next to me. If I'm not happy with the quality, it goes over onto that wall over there. Whoever walks past, they take it to my graveyard, which is at the back.
Okay.
And that's not, doesn't always mean that oyster's actually dead. But sometimes you get a thing called polydora, which enters the shell and it actually tarnishes the meat color, which it gets like a grey kind of color. You can't serve that because people eat with their eyes. So yeah, so the shucking is very easy. So this part is something that everyone kind of hates, but it's actually really not that bad. Shucking's the easy part. So, but it's all about technique and knowing where the muscle is. So this is the hinge, the back of the oyster. You'll see where it tapers. You always go opposite the hinge. The muscles always sits here on the left. So your entry of your knife is anywhere here, going all the way around here. You don't want to enter from there because that's too far to travel with a knife. So the aim is to get as close to where the muscle sits over here. So you'll see, so I'm going to put it down on a breadboard. If you don't have gloves, you can use a dishcloth. Just always make sure that you've got something secure to put it on. Like a table, a firm table. This one was obviously made for me. So when you put the knife in, you just gently push, you can actually feel it going in. What you then do, lift it up. So I'm going to lift the knife, cut as close to the top shell as possible, and move to the left, cut and twist. And that's the shucking part.
Oh, that's amazing. So now, and then now you just open it.
So now, no, so the work, the hard work, this is my guys, so the guys who normally stand next to me, they've got the hard work.
Okay.
So prepping is to make sure, so the prepping is just to make sure that they cut the oyster loose, and they make sure that there's no shell pieces inside, because there's nothing worse than having grits when you actually put an oyster and you want to indulge in something that you're paying. I wouldn't say oysters are cheap anymore. They've become quite a costly affair, but it's, yeah, so people do tend to. So you want to make sure the experience when they sit down is it's worth every penny, and make sure that there's no grits, no shell pieces. So what I do is I push just by the muscle. You'll see that little white bit over there. Just push, because what I've done is I've cut through the muscle. So by cutting through the muscle, I need to loosen on the top and then loosen on the bottom. Take the top lid off only once you've cut. The minute you've cut loose on top, then you take the top lid off. There I can see a little bit of grits. Don't want that. Now what you're going to do is lift the meat up on the side, and then I'm going to push. It's not a slice action, so your action is actually pushing. A lot of people tend to slice. So lift the meat up on the side and you push away from you, following the gradient of the shell. So you push. While you're pushing, you'll see over there. And while I'm pushing, I'm making sure that there's no shell pieces. What a lot of restaurants do, they actually flip it. So by flipping, they actually think it looks better when you actually flip it and serve. And that's it.
Oh, so that's why they actually just flip it over, so it looks.
You don't always have to if it looks good.
If it looks better.
Yeah, if it looks good, then just leave it as is.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is the prepped oyster. That's it. That's the shucking done. I'm going to shuck a couple, and then I'm going to let Rosebud, she's actually known as Rosebud, get her to shuck an oyster or two. Yeah.
I'm terrified.
You'll be fine. Okay, so Rose, just come stand next to me.
Okay.
Okay, so remember what I said? Wherever it tapers, that's the hinge. Opposite. The mussel oyster sits here on the left. Okay. So always put it down on a firm surface. So gently push down with a knife like that. You can actually feel it going in. Once the knife's in, you're safe. Lift it up, and then you're gonna cut to the left. And that's it.
And twist.
Yeah. Once, but you can actually, you only twist once you've cut through the mussel. Don't twist before, because then you break shell pieces and everything. You can actually feel it releasing.
Okay.
So that's one done.
Okay.
So wait, let me just give you...
An easy one.
Yeah. Let's give you an easy one.
Okay.
So remember what I said?
Put your hand down.
Always push down with a knife.
Okay.
Because if it does slip, it's actually going to go into the breadboard, not your hand.
You can guide me.
Okay.
So this is me. I've got the shell.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I need to find out the entry points. It's about there.
So anywhere along here is your entry point.
Anywhere along
You want to
there.
be as close to the mussel, which sits here on the left, as possible.
So now going to push down on there. Yeah. And the knife goes down.
Just and gently wiggle it as you're trying to get in.
Okay. So
actually,
wiggling.
Good. Okay, go in. Now start pushing in. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, now move to the left. Don't twist until you cut through the mussel. So get it as, remember, you want to get the knife as deep as possible, and then push towards you.
Okay. I can feel it sliding easily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And now try twist.
Carry on.
Okay.
Does it feel like you've cut through?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can twist.
Now twist it.
And that's it.
Okay. So now I can. So now just open it.
So now you need to prep, yeah. Now
Okay.
remember what I said first? You need to loosen the top first.
Okay, so
lift
now
it up.
go...
No, but hold it like this. So now change the way you hold the oyster.
Okay.
You're now going to hold it like that.
Like a baby.
Like a baby.
Okay.
Lift the top shell and hold with these two fingers. Like that. Because you need to see what
Look
you're
like
doing.
it's smiling.
Yes. And then what you're going to do, remember I said push, not slice. Everything's a push.
Okay.
So pull the meat down and then you're going to push.
Okay.
Just by the muscle. See there?
So there's a smiling oyster, and I'm going to push.
Just by the muscle. Just push away from you. No. Change your angle of your knife. So go like this. So you're going to work like that.
Push.
Push.
Okay.
And then push away from you because you want to get...
Okay.
The muscle meat is the good part. It's like the marrow in your bone. You want to get all that meat off. So make sure you slice it off nice and clean. Just remember, push.
Ooh, Donna.
There we go. Push.
Am I pushing enough?
That looks fine.
Okay.
It's a good attempt.
Oops. Okay.
Take the top lid off. Remember I said?
Okay, take
Once you've
the
loosened
top
on the top.
Little.
Now directly underneath, remember what I said. So you've cut through the muscle.
So
So
now-
now you're going to loosen the top, loosen on the bottom. So just here, lift the meat up and then push away from you. Just by the muscle. Remember that the only thing that
There we
keeps
go.
it attached is the muscle. That's
Okay.
it.
So that's it, and then I can now
And then
flip
make it look pretty. So
I can
just
flip it.
make that, pull that nice and flat.
Okay.
Remember people,
that's
the muscle. That's
Oh, shit.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so now...
And now you put that on the plate and
Okay,
it's ready to serve.
But
and
I
you
can
make
flip
sure
it.
You, if you want to.
So I can-
But it looks pretty good.
So flip it. There we go.
Woo! Very impressive. Look at that.
There we go.
Well done, Rose.
Thanks for a good teacher.
No, it looks pretty good. So there. So now what I'm going to do is just do the other four quickly.
Can I take these off?
Because what Rose is going to do, I'm going to go, we've got 6 different toppings. I'm going to explain the 6 different toppings. But let me just shuck and prep 4 quickly. And then I'll go through our tray, which we've got in here. Which is when you sit down here, when we can finally open as a restaurant. This is the tray that always comes to the table. But I'll be going through that now shortly. But let me just prep those 4 oysters quickly. Okay.
So while you're shucking these oysters, these oysters that you are shucking today is West Coast oysters, am I right?
That's correct.
And you actually keep them in your holding tank? So how do they get here?
We've actually got a freight company. So the farms, when I order, they deliver to my freight company which is called Intertown. They're based in Cape Town. So when I order, they deliver to my depot. So if I order today, I get next day between 10 and 12. So
they're mostly on the West
yeah,
Coast.
I must say in terms of transit, it's very quick. But I need to get my orders in before 9 every day.
In the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So what I'm doing now, just quickly, I'm just getting another 4 oysters done. So Rose can have the 6 different ways that we... So a lot of people, when it's their first time, what they do is they'll order 6 oysters and then try our different toppings, the 6 different ways. And then what they then do is they actually decide which ones they like for next time when they actually visit us. And a lot of customers tend to leave with other new favorites, especially our pickled ginger, but I'll be going through all that. So we've got the 6 oysters ready for Rose. So now I'm going to bring the tray. She's got no sit down at the moment, so we're going to get Rose to eat them just at the table over here. Okay.
Sure, this looks interesting.
Okay, so a traditional way, I'm going to just take off my gloves quickly, which everyone knows, which is your lemon, your black pepper, and Tabasco. So we've got the mild and hot Tabasco. The mild being the green Tabasco, and then the hot being the red Tabasco. So your traditional way, so do that one first, Rose, is your lemon, your black pepper, and Tabasco. Always put the lemon on last. And the reason I say that, because remember, your hand tends to get full of the lemon juices, and everything sticks. So always put on your dry ingredients and then your wet, which is the lemon last. So always, so you can put either black pepper or Tabasco first.
Okay. Oh, okay. So the first one is the old traditional way, which is black pepper and Tabasco.
And lemon, obviously.
And lemon, yeah. All right. So
Rose likes mild.
Oh, I can go for it. I like the jalapeno taste in the green Tabasco.
Okay.
Actually. That's one of the reasons. Yeah. One of my favorite little things. So black pepper.
Yeah.
And
lemon.
And then a little bit of lemon.
You'll see it's quite a nice meaty oyster. Good luck,
Okay.
Rose.
And this comes to the unattractive part.
That's the best part.
Yes. So it's eating the oyster. Salute. Really good.
The next way is the Josie way that we do. So it's traditional way, which is your lemon, your black pepper, Tabasco, with a little dollop of creamed horseradish.
So it's traditional with
Traditional, yeah. So you put the lemon, the black pepper, Tabasco, with a little dollop of the creamed horseradish on the oyster.
Okay.
So you dress it exactly the same. So you would go like dry ingredients first.
Dry ingredient first. So black pepper.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try the little bit of red.
Oh, now we're going for some hot Tabasco.
There we go. Just a little bit of that.
And then you'll put this on first.
Oh, okay. So this is horseradish.
Yeah, creamed horseradish.
And this, you make this?
No, we actually buy it from the German deli.
Oh, okay.
From the deli factory shop in Plett.
Okay. So
Yeah, there's no horseradish like the German horseradish.
Cool. They obviously know how to make it.
No, they do.
So then squeeze a little bit of lemon on them.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. And the next one, I'm going to be eating a lot of oysters today.
It's not a bad thing.
Oh my.
So yeah, so that's definitely one of our most popular is the Josie way, which is traditional with a creamed horseradish.
You should try this. Horseradish is really good. Right.
Okay, so our next way, we call it the Free State or the Vrystaat way. We were actually introduced to it from a family that comes from the Free State. They actually brought a little jar of their tartar sauce and they said, Tash, you've got to try it. So I did try it. Look, it's not bad. It creates like a creamy, buttery kind of taste. But I still like that zingy, lemony kind of Tabasco. But anyway, so how you're going to dress the Vrystaat or the Free State way is your lemon, your black pepper, Tabasco with a little dollop of the tartar sauce. Which is tartar sauce, yeah.
So everything?
Tartar is typically known, you have it with your calamari, when you sit down at restaurants. But this, like I say, creates like a creamy, buttery kind of taste.
Okay.
So
Dry ingredients?
Dry ingredients first, always. And then some tartar.
Okay. Tartar sauce.
Just a little dollop. You don't want to take away from the taste of the oyster.
You didn't say how much.
Yeah, well, it's entirely up to you. You can put as much as you like.
Okay, there.
But you want to still taste that oyster. That's perfect. That looks good.
And then the lemon.
And lemon, yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to squeeze a little bit more lemon.
And you'll see as you bite into it, you'll get that creamy, buttery kind of taste, which is from the tartar sauce.
Okay, great. So this is oyster number 3. It's all nice and loose, and let's make sure.
Yeah.
And then, and this one, just before you start eating, you say, Vrystaat.
So the next way, we call it the Vietnamese way. It's just soy and chili. We've already infused the chilies in the soy sauce. So if you're not into hot, we always tell people just to put a little bit on their hand just to check the temperature of the chili. Because if it's too overwhelming, it's not going to be enjoyable. So just check it first and see if you can handle the chili it's already infused in the soy sauce.
I'm happy.
So what this does is it actually enhances the salt flavor of the oyster from the soy sauce with a bite of the chili.
Okay.
And that's all you put on the oyster.
So it's just the soya.
So there is a spoon in here.
Okay.
So let's first test on your hand. Let's first do a taste test.
Okay. So you just have a little
Just
drop.
to make sure the temperature's okay for you.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So now we're going to put that over the oyster.
There
Just
we
a
go.
little bit more. There we go.
Woohoo, baby. Right.
Born up a tree.
Born up a tree. Something Asian. I can't think of anything Asian to say, so I'm just going to eat it. Different, eh? Very nice.
Okay, so let's move on to the next way. The Japanese way is very popular because you get a nice balance. So, and the reason people enjoy this, because the teriyaki is a sweet barbecue, so you get the salty oyster with a sweet, so you get a nice balance with the pickled ginger. So your sushi lovers, especially them, they tend to really enjoy this way. So what you do, this is all that goes onto the oyster, is your teriyaki and your pickled ginger.
Cool.
Okay, there we go. So I don't know how much teriyaki you'd like. Do you want me to help you with that? So this is actually, okay,
Okay, you put the teriyaki on for me.
just hang on. I see a shell piece, which is not great. There we go.
Okay.
No, wait.
Make sure that the oyster is nice and loose.
Let me just make sure there's no shell pieces. Great.
Cool.
Okay, so teriyaki goes on. Such fun, Rose.
Yes, it's like like fashion dressing for.
Okay, then pickled
food.
ginger. So we're gonna put some pickled ginger on, which people love. Get a nice
Wow.
little whack on there,
Okay.
and happy days.
Okay. So there's a lot of pickled ginger and teriyaki sauce.
Or you can put less. But yeah, Rose just has to more eat it, so.
Okay, here we go. I think that's my favorite.
Is it?
Yummy. Oh, delicious.
So if you, in essence, it's actually like sashimi. So,
Yeah, it's delicious.
so if you think of the sashimi that you get, the salmon, the tuna, so it's exactly the same.
Oh,
So
delicious.
yeah, I think that's why a lot of people, especially, and more and more people are eating sushi nowadays.
Yep.
And also the health benefits and everything behind it.
Cool.
But okay, so the next way, also very popular, is it's called the French way. It's red wine vinegar and red onion. So people, so if you're not into vinegar, then don't try it. But it's red wine vinegar. It's not your normal brown and white vinegar. It's red wine vinegar with red onions. Remember, red onions have got a slightly sweeter taste versus your white onion. So Rose is now going to try. This is the oyster she actually shucked and prepped. She left the best for last.
Oh, okay. I didn't even
Yeah,
notice. Well,
I did.
now that I do.
And then, so what we're going to do is make sure to get the onion on the oyster like that. And then we're going to get a little bit of the
Sauce.
vinegar, the red wine vinegar.
Okay.
Let me just get a little bit more on there. And this is also very popular, I must say.
Okay.
That's it.
Bon appetit. Completely different.
Whole different taste.
Very nice. Okay. That is a food sensation experience of
Explosion
note.
in the mouth kind of thing.
In every matter. So that's the biggest question of all that you get a lot.
The most common question that is asked all the time is, how is a pearl formed? So it's quite easy. So yeah, you see, let me open an oyster quickly. So just give me a sec, because then I can actually explain and show you. So let me just shuck. I do normally put my gloves on, but I'm going to just do a quick dem. So what happens is, let me just open that so you can see. So how a pearl is actually formed, you see this brown layer that goes around the edge, that's called the mantle.
Okay.
So when anything foreign enters the shell, what happens is it builds up a protective mechanism. So the mantle starts secreting calcium carbonate and protein. which eventually over time forms a hard layer of whatever entered the shell. And eventually over time it breaks off and then rolls around in the actual shell, or sometimes it's actually attached, like you'll see this one was still attached to the side of the shell, but this is quite a nice size one that we found. This one can actually be...
Is that an actual pearl?
Yeah, it's an actual pearl, which is very seldom that we find them in the cultivators, but this was quite a big one. So this you can take to a jeweler and they can actually just polish it and then actually lay it into like a pendant or something. But yeah,
wow.
But that's it. It's actually an irritation to the oyster, is how
So that's how
pearls
pearls are formed.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
So just for people who want to come here and they want to go and do oyster picking, or they want to take away some of these ideas.
Yeah.
You have little oyster knives available?
Yeah, we sell oyster knives because a lot of people like to harvest their own, and then they obviously, I give them a quick shucking lesson if they need a shucking lesson.
Yeah.
But you can buy all the equipment from us. We've got the oyster knives, and then naturally, if you've been here before, a lot of people tend to know what their favorite ways are, and then when you do a takeaway on your oysters, you can actually select the items. If you want the cream horseradish or the tartar, and we sell them in little 70ml tubs.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So these are your
But they
little
are
ingredients
available.
and you can actually take them away.
Yeah, 100%.
Tash, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. That was our oyster lesson for today, and hopefully you can go and enjoy your oysters wherever you are.
Welcome to the Knysna area of the Garden Route National Park. Here we have the Knysna Estuary, as you can see behind me. We've got forest areas and fynbos areas, mountain catchment areas that are really important for water. The forest component is the largest continuous area of indigenous forest in the country. It stretches from, in Knysna, it stretches from Gona to Diepwalle and down to Harkeville as well along the coast. The Knysna Estuary is the most biodiverse estuary in the country because it's the only estuarine bay in the country and also home to a wide variety of biota, plants and animals, and also some endangered species like the Knysna seahorse and the Knysna sand goby, which only occur here. There's a wide variety of activities that people can do here when they come to visit Knysna and the National Park. There are all the water activities. You can do canoeing, kayaking, you can go out on some of the boats that offer boat cruises on the lagoon. You can do fishing, bait collecting, as long as you have the required permits. And then there's even things like scuba diving, snorkeling and so on that you can do. Of course, swimming as well in the Knysna Estuary. It's a lovely calm waters to be able to swim in. And then also in the forests you can take part in one of our hiking trails. We've got day trails, we've got overnight trails as well with accommodation, from 7 days to 2-day trails that you can do, and then shorter walks as well for those who want to walk with the family. Then you can also go on our mountain bike trails. We've got some of the best mountain bike trails in the country here, I think. Different lengths and different difficulties for people of all ages to do. And then we also have adventure activities. We've got a zip lining activity that is going to start soon in the Kranshoek area of our park. So if you're really in it for some adrenaline, you can come and do something like that. We also host 34 events in the Knysna area of the Garden Route National Park per year. So that's cycling, triathlons, mountain biking, those kind of events. Then if you'd like to spend a bit longer, we've got some overnight accommodation. Everything from very rustic, where you can come with your tent to stay in the Diepwalle forest on the tented decks, or if you'd like a bit more luxury, we've got a 4-star chalet in the Harkeville area of the Garden Route National Park. If you're interested in finding out a bit more about our cultural heritage, we've got a lovely route that you can drive called the Rooted in Time, which starts up in Diepwalle and goes all the way to Gona with stops along the way of items of significance. We've also got the Forest Legends Museum that you can visit in Diepwalle Forest, where you can learn more about the woodcutters and the gold diggers, and also the Knysna elephant.
Dit was 1 Desember maand toe die olifant hier verby beweeg. Al met die boardwalk af, het 'n iframe-bord gestaan en het hom gebreek. En hy was seker maar 'n bietjie kwaad en toe druk hy sommer sy tand hier deur. Karel, onthou jy nog daai Sondag hier by Langvleibos? Wat ons die ou olifantkoei gevolg het?
Ja, verseker. Ja, dit was 'n benoude oomblik daardie oggend gewees wat ons op daar gekry het. Ja.
Maar kan jy onthou ons het daar deur oude brandbos deur beweeg, oude brandpad en daar by die platkap. Toe staan 'n stam sy mos daar in die fynbos.
Dat is verseker, ja.
Dis daai daar wat hulle sê net jy kan spoor sny.
Ja.
Maar jy was 'n bietjie gefrustreerd, jy was 'n bietjie bang want dit is die eerste maal wat jy sien so 'n groot dier wat daar, jy sien net die rug daar uitsteek en sy staan en stamp.
Ja, dis verseker. Dit was my eerste keer gewees, ja. En 'n bietjie nervus gewees van ek het nog nie so groot reus in die bos raak geloop nie, ja.
Ja, nee. Ja, dit was 'n lekker Sondag gewees.
Yes.
En lyk dan nou vir my die Knysna olifant maak sy laaste draai.
Ja, want volgens die kameras en goed wat ons opgesit is daar nog net 1 oor in die woud en ek verstaan nie so daar bo in Valie se area rond, ja.
Ja, en ek wil ook glad nie meer draai die balle toe nie.
Ja, nee, miskien sal hy seker 'n bietjie warm hier teen November maand se kant weer 'n draai kom maak hier so, ja.
Ja, ons hoop maar so.
Ja, nee, verseker, ja, want hy was nou lank weg. Meer as 'n jaar wat hy nou weg is, dat hy aan die ander kant is, ja.
Ja, nee.
Ja, nee.
In terms of the Knysna estuary itself, we've been working very closely with other stakeholders. For example, the Knysna municipality in terms of the Knysna Estuary Authorities Pollution Committee to try and reduce the amount of litter that actually enters into the estuary. So in the past, we were fortunate to have had an EPWP funded opportunity by working for the coast teams, assisting with cleanups around the estuary. Unfortunately, due to the COVID lockdown, those teams were not working, and it was, the responsibility fell back to the rangers as well as the sandparks honorary rangers to go out and clean up the litter. Just in terms of some of the activities that we do have on the estuary, we do have fishing, recreational fishing and boating activities, although those activities do require specific permits. For example, the fishing and baiting, you need to get a permit from the post office. In order to have your boat on the Knysna estuary, you need to be in possession of a valid vessel permit, which is obtainable from us as sandparks. People will come to the Knysna estuary to enjoy themselves, but I think one of the most important things that people need to be mindful of is how do we, each and every one of us, play our part in protecting the estuary and reducing the amount of litter that is being left about.
Well, we're still not able to travel yet as we respond to the challenges that we're facing with COVID-19 pandemic, but we still live in the most beautiful part, not only of the African continent, but of South Africa. And today we go to one of my favorite parts and corners of the Western Cape, and that is Knysna. And the person who's going to take us through that, of course, is Ipi Kingma. Hello, Ipi.
Hello, Africa. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in this industry and how long have you lived in Knysna?
I've been in this industry since I moved to South Africa, which was in 1999. I'm from the Netherlands originally, but have lived in Knysna.
Well, you could have chosen a much worse spot to live in the world, I tell you. Where are you going to be taking us today?
Today, I'm taking you on a tour of the greater Knysna area. So I'll show you a little bit of how to get into Knysna, Renendal, the forest area, Belvedere with the old church, Buffalo Bay, the beach, Brenton-on-Sea, Teeson Island, the Knysna Heads, and then also the Knysna Elephant Park.
Well, Ipi, of course, we're not physically able to be in Knysna today, and we're turning to technology, and Google Street View will navigate us through Knysna. Where do we start today?
I'm taking you not on the N2, which is the highway between George and Knysna, what most people do, but I'm taking you on sort of off the beaten track. I'm taking you on the Seven Passes Road, which, as the name suggests, consists of 7 passes going through indigenous forests, through little streams, over old bridges.
Ipi, of course, many of us rush to Knysna because of some of those beautiful views. Where would you suggest one enjoys them?
I'm going to take you to Brenton-on-Sea for a short walk on the beach. You'll enjoy some views over the Knysna Lagoon as we get to the beach. And then there's a stretch of beach of about 3.5 kilometers waiting for you. A few rocks there. You can see oyster catchers on the beach. You can see, in season, you'll see dolphins, and the southern right whales come very close to the coastline, so you can see those from the coast.
Now, Ipi, Brenton-on-Sea, of course, absolutely beautiful, but what can be experienced between here and the city centre?
In Belvedere Estate, we've got the Holy Trinity Church there, which is a beautiful sandstone-built church in Norman style, as they did in the 11th and 12th century. Built by Thomas Duthie, who was the owner of Belvedere Estate at the time, and a lot of the ingredients, so to speak, of the church. So the stained glass windows and the roof plates were actually brought in from England. Belvedere Church is now a national monument. At the time, Belvedere itself provided anchorage for coastal trading vessels, so it was like a port for the Knysna area.
Well, Ipi, of course, Knysna is also synonymous with oysters.
That's right. So from Belvedere Church, we're going to drive along the lagoon. Now, Teeson Island was named after the Teeson family, which was a Norwegian family which were on the way to Australia, actually from Norway. But they got stranded in Cape Town and landed up in Knysna, setting up the timber processing plant on Teeson Island. That since then has developed into a beautiful residential marina and Teeson Harbour Town with lots of restaurants and quaint little shops. And the restaurants there serve a beautiful oyster experience as well, where they pair the oysters, either the wild oysters, which can be found all along the coastline, or the cultivated oysters, which were originally cultivated in Knysna, now also in Port Elizabeth and in Saldanha Bay up the west coast, with either some nice wine or some superb food.
Well, Ipi, of course, the Knysna heads are also world famous, aren't they?
They are. Would you like me to take you there?
Of course, yes, please.
Okay, let's go. And then I'm going to take you down George Rex Drive. And that's the road leading up to the Knysna Heads. And at the top, there's some beautiful viewpoints where you can see Leisure Isle and then Knysna Town with the Outeniqua Mountains in the background. Further to your left, you'll see Belvedere, where we were earlier on, where the little church is. And then across the channel, we've got Featherbed Nature Reserve. And if we walk around, we can also see the Indian Ocean again with whales and dolphins in season. I'm going to take you to the Knysna Elephant Park. The Knysna Elephant Park has been in existence for the last 20 odd years. And it's a beautiful experience, depending on what you're looking for, really. The general tour will take you to the elephants, where you get to feed them and you get to be up close and personal with them. You get to walk with them in the field. You can have your pictures taken. Okay, and I think one of the nicest things maybe to do at the Knysna Elephant Park is you can stay over for the night. They do have accommodation at the Knysna Elephant Park where you can sleep with the elephants.
I think that is a wonderful note to end this tour of Knysna on. It really, really is one of my favorite parts of the Western Cape. Thank you for taking us on this tour.
Thank you for being here. And I look forward to welcoming you to Knysna indeed one day.
It is going to happen one day. And of course, until that day, tour guides such as Ipi, who are knowledgeable about every corner of this country, need your help. And of course, up until that one day when we can physically visit the places, we ask that you support and give generously as much as you can towards supporting the tour guides by using the SnapScan. Please be generous. And I look forward to seeing you one day.